That second reading today of the resurrection reminds me of what we celebrate that first week in February. And that is, I remember going into the classroom, I think it was Ann Shinago's classroom over at Holy Cross. And I asked the kids what was the biggest holy day or holiday of the year. Actually, biggest holy day. And so one little kid raised his hand and he says, "It's Christmas, Father, it's Christmas." I said, "It's close. That's maybe like the second biggest holy day of the year." Another one raised his hand, and a little girl, and she said, "Well, Halloween. Halloween is the biggest holy day of the year." And I says, "Well, that's a holiday. We're talking holy day." And so finally, this other little girl raised her hand and said, "It's Easter. It's Easter, Father." On that, I said, "Very good." And she said, "I'm not done." All right. So she went on and said, "Easter is when Jesus died, he got hurt and he got put into the tomb. And then later on, he rose from the dead." I said, "Well, that's very good. All right. That's the mystery of our faith." And she said, "I'm still not done. I'm still not done." And I said, "Okay, go ahead." She said, "Then he saw his shadow and went back in the tomb." Hoxitani Phil, right, on that. So thank you for your prayers. I've been back since Christmas Eve with my own parishes, and thank you for your cards and for those who brought food. So I really do appreciate all that. We're switching, Father Sal and I, in order to bring the three parishes closer together to help communication. You know, I still have people saying, "Well, do you have a deacon in your parishes?" Yeah, and you know, of course the answer is I got one in each on that, because they've never been to Our Lady of Peace or St. Victoria, you know, on that. And the one even asked, does he have permission to function by the bishop, kind of thing on that. And I says, "Well, you know me, whether he has permission or not, he's going to function." my two parishes, we need him, the people call him forward. And another time I'll tell you about the two deacons. So this is to help defray misunderstanding or what have you, or apprehension, you know, or presumption about the work that we do out there. And even going down there is a big help. So anyways, after catching no fish all night, Jesus tells the fishermen to go out into the deep water. They catch lots of fish, and after experiencing the goodness of Jesus and the goodness of God, Peter becomes aware of his shortcomings and his own sin. He is then told that he will be fishers of men and women. And there's some thoughts that some people think that's what part of eternal life might be. You know, we die in sin and shortcomings, that we see this goodness of God, and it goes before us, okay, and then we become aware of our own sin. It's like somebody gives you a gift and you don't expect it, okay, and you may have had words before, harsh words before, and then with that gift you want to express, you know, that you're sorry, that you prejudge them, if you will. So Peter is aware now of God's graciousness, and in that, even though he be a sinner and he's shortcomings, he'll be fishers of men and women. Now, fishers of men and women mean that we'll be in relationship with a lot of people. We'll have perhaps many friends, and we'll bring them to Christ. There's a saying in Cursillo. Any Cursiestas here? Any Cursillo people? All right, great. Okay, all right. So when I said Cursiesta, you knew I wasn't cursing, huh? Okay, on that. And one of the sayings, the talk is, be a friend, make a friend, okay? Bring a friend to Christ, okay? Be a friend, make a friend, bring a friend to Christ. And so before we catch people for the faith community and for Christ, we need to do a couple of things. First, we need to take our hearts and minds into deep water. We have to go into the deep. This is a metaphor. Let us go into the deep to live life not on a surface, but to live life deeply in our God. And we reflect deeply and take time with our God. We examine our actions and our conscience. We ask ourselves, how do we treat people? Have we missed opportunities to express compassion and caring? Do I say my prayers mechanically? Is my mind wandering? By the way, anyone here, does your mind wander when you say your prayers? My mind wanders. Okay, all right. I guess we're the only three, okay? God bless the rest of you whose mind doesn't wander. But you know, you two that raised your hand, and myself, you make that part of your prayer. You say, God, my mind is wandering, all right? Just make that part of your prayer on that. We take time to reflect on the Lord, on our sins, also our good deeds. So we go deep. We go deep into that. But we go deep as well into relationships with other people. We go deep by looking at someone when they talk with us. For me, I'm deaf in this particular ear, all right? Since 2011 on that. And what's a good thing, because now I look at people. People say, he doesn't look at me when I talk to him. And that was always part of an evaluation on that. But I look at you, and they feel that they're present, okay? Or connect with their pain and understanding what they're feeling. The deep water, to make a strong connection, to go into the deep on that. And sometimes when we go deep into a relationship with people, we feel safe enough to admit our own mistakes. Like Peter, he admits his own unworthiness there. When we go deep, we feel safe enough. There's kind of a spiritual intimacy. When they own their own brokenness, we can own our brokenness. We can say, yeah, I'm guilty of this, or I'm guilty of that as well. I have anger issues. There's others with me who might feel unworthy, and they want to walk with us. Maybe they'll express their unworthiness. I guess the best example is a 12-step meeting where everybody goes and they express their unworthiness and their shortcomings. But there's an intimacy that is there. It's a spiritual program. Although their higher power might not be Christ, your higher power will be Christ. They feel safe. And by the end of the meeting, perhaps they bond. And we who are sinners, we're never alone because we go into the deep. And when we find that we build a relationship, whether perfect or not, Isaiah says he's not perfect, okay? But when we go relationship or not, we're perfect or not, we say in a special way, my Lord and my God, I've made a connection, right? And none of us have it all together, but together we have it all. And you're not okay, and I'm not okay, but that's okay, right? Because we make a connection there on that. And we who are sinners are never alone. I know I have a friend named Marge Chamberlain. Now, you better raise your hand for this one. How many know Marge Chamberlain? Yeah, you better raise your hands. Were enough hands up, Marge? Okay, yeah. So when Marge says to me, if she sees I'm supposed to eat healthy, I'm not eating celery, but I'm eating a donut, she'll say, Father Jim, we need to talk, okay? And what happens is, or she just might say, even scarier, we need to talk, and I get stomach cramps or whatever. Maybe you've had that, huh, guys? When your wife says we need to talk, all right? Or when your husband says we need to talk. It's an invitation to go deeper, And it might be something that we are doing wrong, but we're still loved. It's an invitation to intimacy precisely because we're not perfect, precisely because we have issues. And we learn something about ourselves. Or your teen might be inviting you to go into the deep. If you listen closely, your teenagers or your grandchild, who might be a teenager, may be telling you a story about somebody who messed up at their school. You know, they're telling you something. They are afraid themselves. Sometimes a teenager will approach you and they'll say, well, Father Jim, I have a friend, okay? And they'll go on and share something that's pretty deep. And, you know, it's not the friend, it's them. but that's a safe way of engaging in a conversation. Again, going deep, and maybe in a certain way, if the teenager reveals that he feels close or feels safe or has a friend, and at a certain level, they might say, my Lord and my God, but they're still called to relationship on that. We've had the synod meetings, and you're doing synod meetings here. I think that's wonderful on that. I think that's wonderful. And a lot of things have come out about the synod, and we've been going deep. We just finished the second one today at Our Lady of Peace on that. One of the things that came up is, because I was out sick during that time, my parishes had 4 weekends without a priest. Okay, that's 4 weekends they had without a mass, all right? Okay, and John Christian's parents are here, and John, when he was home, he rescued me Christmas Day. I was able to do Christmas Eve, but I had no energy Christmas Day, and John Christian, who was home from Rome, took time from his family to do Christmas Day in my 2 parishes. But there were 4 weekends on that. And so we started to ask questions, okay? Deep questions. How did you feel about that? Well, of course, the deacon felt very comfortable, all right? Felt very comfortable with it. But asking the women who were leading prayer, okay, and giving communion, because there was no priest on that. How did they feel about it? They felt afraid at first. They felt, they lacked confidence at first. So maybe the second or the third time, they became more courageous. They had more confidence, if you will. We were going deep. What is our relationship now with the diocese? Since Father was gone 4 weekends and they didn't send a priest on that. Again, going deep, sharing feelings, if you will. And then the question came up, okay, what about women deacons, all right, which Francis has been put on the table. Do you know that today is the feast of St. Agatha? And St. Agatha lived in the year 250, and she was a deacon and a martyr, all right? So those of us who are traditional Catholics, we have women deacons in our tradition, all right? Yeah, women deacons. We had married priests till like the 1200s. I had a parishioner say, I'm a very traditional parishioner. I believe in married priests and women deacons. It's true. It's part of our tradition. So that's just an aside, and it came out of of the sharing on that, way to draw closer on that, to going into the deep, and you have that opportunity here at Holy Cross. So if you didn't sign up for the synod, sign up, and go to it there. The other thing is, too, say, my Lord and my God. People have gone through the RCIA. I don't know if you've had this problem at Holy Cross, but after a couple of years, they drift away. And I have to own my own sin, my own complacency, because I haven't gotten on the phone and called them and said, where were you? They drift away. I had to say in my own way, get away from me, Lord, I'm a sinner. But the Lord calls me and calls others to bring them together, to bring people together. Or another thing that surfaced as well, why are the same people doing all the work? Why aren't we getting more people involved? We're owning our own brokenness. We're owning our own sin, but we're owning it together. Perhaps that's what the synod does for us. The synod does for us. And at the end, this is like the first time in my lifetime that Rome wants the input of God's holy baptized lay people. That your people, the people who coordinate your synod, they're going to write 500-word, documents, and they'll be shipped to the diocese, and then it'll make its way to the Vatican. I don't know how many people in the Vatican will listen, read it, but at least they're asking, if you will. I often say that those of us who are baptized, the lay people, when you get anointed, you're anointed priest, prophet, and king. That means builder of the reign of God, all right? Wow. I bet if some cardinals really realized what that meant, they might change the formula, right? Because we're saying, you all are priests to make the world holy by your baptism, not just me. You all are prophets to speak the truth to power and to other people. And you all are builders of the reign of God. You act for justice. You're called by your baptism. So the synod is a good thing. It's an opportunity, again, to go deep. For me to own my own brokenness as a pastor, where I've been complacent and I haven't followed up on things, for other people to do that, but also to give thanks for the goodness of the gifts that are shared in the community. So let us go into the deep in our prayer life and with one another. And we may find that in our shortcomings, we come up with many good friends.